Who ever thought that being an adult would mean stressing over what kind of water filter to buy? We know that tap water is filled with contaminants, but what if I told you your water filter isn't helping flush those out? Water filters only remove waterborne bacteria, but they don't filter out viruses. We have the ability to protect ourselves from contaminants in our tap water, but the information isn't readily available. We all assume that tap water is safe to drink, but the EPA standards on when tap water isn't safe to drink hasn't been updated in 20 years. I don't know about you, but that's pretty alarming to me. I spent a lot of time researching how to eliminate ingesting unnecessary toxins when I stumbled upon a study on how our water filters aren't protecting us. From that moment on, I became obsessed with finding the solution. Today, I'm going to explain what contaminants are in our tap water. Then, we'll learn how water that is not filtered properly can hurt you, and finally, we'll learn why water purifiers are your saving grace. At a glance, all water looks the same, but inside tap water are massive amounts of contaminants, and most of them will surprise you. E. coli, petroleum products like gasoline, and rust are just a few of the contaminants that are floating around in your water. It's not only the water we ingest that we need to be concerned about. These are contaminants that are in our cooking and bathing water. Corrosion of household plumbing systems and erosion of natural deposits are major sources of lead pollution in public drinking water. Lead is a toxic metal that can cause damage to health even at low doses. The amount of lead found in the water varies depending on how long the water is exposed to the pipes, the amount of corrosion on the pipes, the water's acidity, and the temperature of the water. Although lead service lines were banned from new plumbing systems in 1986, a lot of the old pipes still remain. Arsenic is a common contaminant since it can be found in the Earth's crust. The Central Valley has reached high toxic levels of arsenic due to excessive groundwater pumping. The same water that is being used to yield our crops is filled with these toxic substances. It's a repetitive cycle that gets worse as it progresses. Now that we know some of the toxic substances in our water supply, let's explore how they affect us. You would hope that these contaminants would be in such trace amounts that we would have nothing to worry about. That is unfortunately untrue. There are cities today that are plagued with toxic water, and it's slowly killing them. Large amounts of toxic metals like arsenic can lead to metal poisoning. The symptoms can be easily unnoticed or passed off as a stomach ache, but many short-term symptoms include diarrhea or muscle cramps. However, the long-term effects can lead to nerve damage, memory loss, and loss of hair. If you live in an older home, chances are your pipes have corroded if they haven't been repiped. This is the biggest cause for lead. Again, small amounts is not harmful for most people, but if you're constantly exposed to it, you'll begin to see the symptoms. Children are a lot more susceptible to the negative health effects from lead. Their symptoms can include behavioral changes, learning problems, a lower IQ, and even slower growth. If lead poisoning goes untreated, it can lead to decreased kidney function and cardiovascular effects like hypertension and reproductive issues. This can be really deadly. The pesticides used for our crops easily seep into our groundwater and become present in our drinking water. Even buying organic foods doesn't limit your exposure to these pesticides. The effects of exposure can vary depending on the levels of pesticides and their type. And even though the EPA sets some regulations on these companies to ensure these levels stay low, not all types of pesticides are monitored in our public water. Knowing what is in our water is important, but knowing how to eliminate these chemicals from our water is going to be life-changing. There are so many water filters on the market. Knowing what to look for will save you time and money. We need to eliminate all toxic substances, not just filter them to smaller amounts. Most store brand filters like Brita or Pure Filter out less than 98% of lead. While this sounds great, that's all it does. Toxic substances like pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and even parasites get left behind. These filters are double the cost than high-grade purifiers and last half of the time. These filters need to be replaced frequently, and they can only hold up for 3 months for a family of 3. These filters cost us 20 cents per gallon, while high-grade purifiers only cost us 2 cents. Over time, this adds up, and you can be spending over $1,000 to maintain filters that don't even help you. High-grade purifiers, like the Berkey filter, can last up to 10 years. The total cost for 6,000 gallons of use would be $278 versus over $1,000 for its competitors. Additionally, these high-grade purifiers are so powerful they have the ability to remove teeny tiny viruses as well as the toxic chemicals store filters can't. Not only are these water filters capable of removing harmful chemicals, they may increase the quantity of these toxins. Store-bought filters can be hard to maintain. Most do not let us know when they need to be replaced. This increases the likelihood that we're drinking unfiltered water. Additionally, they were found to only remove 74% of forever chemicals which stay in our environment, while two-stage filters, like the Berkey, remove over 94%. We've explored what it is in our water. Now that we know what can hurt us or our loved ones, and have gone over how store-bought filters hurt us more than help us. Water filters only remove small amounts of toxic chemicals and don't protect us like they say they will. Now, you're able to look for higher quality purifiers to protect yourself and your loved ones.